On a sweltering July day in 1956, Elvis Presley stood before the cameras for a TV appearance that would forever change the landscape of music and television. The setting was the prestigious Hudson Theater in New York, and the show was The Steve Allen Show. But this wasn't just another TV gig. Elvis was about to walk into a minefield of controversy and expectation. NBC, the network airing the show, was worried sick about Elvis's provocative moves and the song he planned to sing, "I Want You, I Need You, I Love You," followed by "Hound Dog." They feared it might offend viewers and ruin the show's family-friendly image. Colonel Parker, Elvis's manager, knew he had a delicate situation on his hands. The last thing he wanted was for Elvis to be bumped from the show due to some outrageous move or song choice. Instead, Parker hatched a plan so clever it would become legendary. They would make Elvis's performance deliberately non-controversial, turning potential controversy into harmless fun. The result was a scene so bizarre it would later become iconic: Elvis singing to a Bassett hound on a stool wearing a top hat and bow tie. This memorable clip, now a staple in TV history, showcased Elvis's ability to laugh at himself while still delivering an unforgettable performance. But this wasn't just about a song or a stunt. It marked a significant moment in Elvis's career as he began working with the Jordanaires, a group that would add a new dimension to his sound. This was the first time they collaborated, joining forces with Gordon Stoker, Hugh Jarrett, Hoyt Hawkins, and Neil Matthews. As the ratings for The Steve Allen Show soared higher even than the popular Ed Sullivan Show, which featured a different movie, it was clear Elvis was a magnetic draw. Elvis returned to the Warwick Hotel for a backstage interview, admitting to the strain of his TV schedule, with performances late into the night. The next day, Elvis headed back to RCA Studios for what would be a landmark recording session. Accompanied by the Jordanaires and pianist Shorty Long, they set out to record 3 tracks: "Don't Be Cruel," "Any Way You Want Me," and the ever-controversial "Hound Dog." Alfred Wertheimer captured the session on film, offering us a glimpse into the making of a musical legend. Elvis had performed "Hound Dog" live many times before, but he was determined to elevate it beyond a novelty. He wanted to deliver a powerful performance that showed he meant every word. The result was a raw, intense recording that showcased Elvis's vocal prowess. This version, with its driving rhythm and Elvis's commanding voice, remains one of the greatest recordings of the song. The session also saw the birth of "Don't Be Cruel," a song written by Otis Blackwell that Elvis felt deeply connected to. The creation of this song was a team effort, with the Jordanaires playing a crucial role in shaping its sound. Their harmonies and Gordon Stoker's innovative piano work on "Hound Dog" showcased a new level of sophistication in rock and roll music. Colonel Parker, ever the shrewd businessman, saw an opportunity to capitalize on Elvis's success. He pushed for Elvis to become more than just a singer. Parker envisioned him as a full-fledged entertainment star, akin to Frank Sinatra. He arranged a meeting with Hal Wallis, a powerful figure in Hollywood, laying the groundwork for Elvis's foray into film. As the sun set on that pivotal day, it was clear that Elvis Presley was on the cusp of something extraordinary. The blend of music, television, and showmanship was proving to be a potent mix. The world was about to be introduced to a new kind of star, one who would change the face of popular culture forever. Hal Wallis was a film producer who had quite an interesting journey. Born in 1898 in Chicago, he started his career as a salesman for a heating company. However, in 1922, he made a big leap and managed a cinema in Los Angeles. This job opened doors for him, and soon he was working with Warner Brothers, helping to promote The Jazz Singer with Al Jolson in 1927. This was a huge hit and marked the start of Wallis's success in Hollywood. The following year, Wallis became a studio manager and later a production executive. He was involved in making several important films, including Little Caesar in 1930, The Maltese Falcon in 1941, and Casablanca in 1942, which became iconic movies. Wallis encouraged talented actors like Humphrey Bogart and directors like Busby Berkeley. However, Wallis had his disagreements, notably with Jerry Lewis, whom he fired thinking Lewis was not funny, not realizing Lewis's act relied on silliness and a high-pitched voice. Despite his tough exterior, Wallis showed he had a sense of humor by not laughing at Jerry Lewis's act, which eventually backfired when Wallis later hit it big with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis films. Wallis also encouraged other talents like Dino and later Elvis Presley, showing he had an eye for stars. Elvis Presley's journey to Hollywood was marked by a memorable meeting with Wallis at Paramount Studios on April Fool's Day. Instead of auditioning for The Rainmaker, Elvis read from another script called The Rainmaker, playing the character Jimmy Curry. Wallis noticed the potential waste of Elvis's talent if he played a small role and decided to create a film around him. This led to Elvis getting a contract for 3 films with Paramount. Elvis's first film, Love Me Tender, was a significant project. The movie, set in 1865, told a story about Elvis's character, Clint Reno, who believes his brother is dead and has married his brother's fiancée. In a pivotal scene, Clint is involved in a shootout and appears to be killed. However, the film's handling of this moment and other plot decisions raised eyebrows among critics. The film's ending, where Elvis's character is essentially resurrected by appearing in the credits singing "Love Me Tender," was seen as grotesque by many. Critics panned the film, criticizing Elvis's acting and singing, suggesting it appealed only to those who enjoyed old-fashioned romantic music. The song "Love Me Tender" itself has an interesting history. Originally, it was Aura Lee, written by George Polton, a musician who had a tumultuous past. His lawyer friend William Fosdick wrote lyrics for the song, which became popular during the American Civil War. For Love Me Tender, Ken Darby, the musical director, rewrote the lyrics as "Love Me Tender." However, due to contractual issues between different music associations, the song's credits became a bit of a mess. Elvis sometimes attributed the song to Stephen Foster, not realizing its true origins. Love Me Tender wasn't just about the film, it was also a music release. The soundtrack featured Love Me Tender and other songs, including We're Gonna Move and Poor Boy. These songs were meant to capture the spirit of the 1860s setting, but felt out of place to many viewers. The film's director, Robert Webb, and the musical arrangements by Lionel Newman, who was Randy Newman's uncle, tried their best to bring the period to life, but the mix of old and new felt jarring to some. Despite the mixed reviews, Love Me Tender marked the beginning of Elvis's film career and showcased Wallis's willingness to take risks by creating a film around a relatively unknown artist. It was a bold move that reflected Wallis's belief in Elvis's potential, even if the film itself didn't resonate with everyone. This venture set the stage for Elvis's future roles and his impact on the film industry. Elvis Presley, a name that echoes through music history, stands as a fascinating figure whose journey is full of interesting twists. Let's take a simpler look at how he became a big part of American music, focusing on some key moments and people. Elvis started by recording songs originally by black artists like Little Richard's Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally. Pat Boone, another singer of the time, also did this. Boone thought he was helping by bringing these songs to white radio stations, making the original artists more famous. He believed this was okay because those artists liked him doing it and got money from it too. Little Richard himself said thanks to Elvis for helping his music reach more people. Bobby V, another musician, said that while Pat Boone might have introduced white audiences to black R&B and rock and roll, Elvis played a big role too. V himself didn't grow up hearing much of this music, he discovered it later through his work. This shows how Elvis helped bridge the gap between different music worlds. However, it's important to remember that artists like Otis Blackwell and Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller also wrote songs that Elvis recorded. Sometimes, these songwriters didn't get as much credit as they deserved. For example, Otis Blackwell wrote Paralyzed, which Elvis recorded but wasn't given much recognition for. This happened more than once, showing how the music industry sometimes treated songwriters. Elvis's recordings of country songs also tell an interesting story. A country star named Webb Pierce didn't like Elvis at first, but when Elvis recorded his song, How Do You Think I Feel, it became a hit. This shows how Elvis could take a song and make it his own, reaching new audiences. The story doesn't stop there. Other songwriters like Aaron Schroeder and Ben Weissman also had their songs recorded by Elvis, sometimes without much praise from Elvis himself. Yet these songs became part of his famous repertoire. As Elvis's fame grew, so did the desire to have him on popular TV shows. Ed Sullivan, the host of a major TV show, initially thought Elvis was too wild for his audience. But after some persuasion, Elvis ended up appearing on Sullivan's show 3 times, each time for a hefty fee. This was a big deal, bigger even than what top stars like Frank Sinatra or the Beatles were getting at the time. But things took an unexpected turn when Ed Sullivan fell ill and couldn't host the show for a while. Different guests took his place, including the actor Charles Laughton, who was not ideal for the role. Laughton, known for playing the hunchback in movies, ended up hosting and did a rather poor job, reading jokes and trying to be funny where he shouldn't have. Despite the mishaps, Elvis's appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show were huge events, reaching millions of viewers. It was through these appearances that Elvis solidified his place in American culture, even if some people, like Laughton, didn't do him justice. In the end, Elvis Presley's story is one of a young man who changed music forever, sometimes stepping on toes along the way but always staying true to his art. His influence lives on, reminding us of the power of music to connect people across different worlds.